Hello, everyone. Here we are at the Global Empowerment Summit. This is the first day, and I'm here with Sheryl Baretto, and I would like to just introduce her a little bit. So before she starts to talk, let me tell a little bit about her. She's an experienced professional with 29 years of experience, of which 18 years were with various organizations across a gamut of roles. She's a strong business role, business HR, worked on niche areas, and many other roles that she will tell us more about because it's better if she is explaining. She's also working in a chairman Ajay Piramal's office, right? She was working there, and it gave her a waste of experience. So let's go, and I will let you introduce yourself. I love when the people are talking about their experience and how they ended up here. Hi, Sheryl. Welcome at the Global Empowerment Summit.
Okay. First of all, I should thank Andrea for organizing such a great and big event and giving people like us an opportunity to speak. So a little bit about myself. I was born in a beautiful place called Goa in India, and my entire journey for about 46 years has been in India. And finally, my company, Piramal Healthcare, which Andrea mentioned, where I work for the chairman of the organization, I got a transfer from India to the US, and that was my first foreign assignment. Was very excited, did that for 2 years, and into Malaysia because my husband got a job in Malaysia and we shifted. I think that gave me a chance to explore myself as an entrepreneur, as a businesswoman. And yes, the journey began right in November 2019. Came out with Freshly Simple, an organization which is totally in a total HR platform, but I wouldn't just call it an HR platform. It's also a platform whereby we develop organizations, we develop people, and at the same time, we offer and provide our services in terms of any implementations that you want to do. And overall, I love giving talks, and so very close with talks that are more important for leaders and for organizations to really conduct themselves. So this is about me.
Thank you very much. This was a very nice introduction. So here we are at the Global Empowerment Summit, bringing the young and the wise together. And Sheryl has an amazing role in understanding HR a little bit differently and talking about talent and how people can find jobs, which is kind of a super important thing today, right? To find opportunities, to be able to find and search for opportunities and be brave enough to send your CVs and to just maybe even switch industries, right? So what are your tips, Sheryl, for the people? How could they approach searching jobs nowadays in the 21st century?
So what I actually feel is basically, yes, I think the generation of today and the future generation are very fortunate enough to have the social media on a large scale and so many platforms to really approach where job is concerned, right? We didn't have that in our days. So we really depended on placement agencies or we depended on referrals through companies. But yes, you have LinkedIn, you have your job streets, you have your monster.com. So you have so many places. But what I would suggest, and I would always say, is that yes, the best place or the best social media where you should really look out and put yourself out is LinkedIn because it's a professional platform and it also gives you a chance to explore plenty of opportunities and you meet like-minded people. So I definitely would suggest, but I would say don't leave the others behind. Try to get into placement agencies that are really well known, which have a great reputation in terms of how they have serviced various industries. And those are the platforms which really help you to even explore yourself. And I always feel that do not feel shy. Do not feel anything is beyond your approach because I have learned that in my business. Initially, when I worked in the corporate world, I felt, oh my God, to go and ask somebody a favor or to even go out there and say shamelessly, yes, this is what I do and this is what I would like you to approach me for. I would never do that initially, but today when I'm an entrepreneur and a businesswoman, I really don't feel bad to go ahead and ask people that, okay, this is what I can offer. If you want to have a word with me, I'm free to tell. I don't expect anything from you. And I think that is one mode that we should set. We should tell people we are free to talk. Please get to know me, what I do, but I do not expect you to give me any job. right? Because that is not what we should, then that becomes like a pressure and force on people. So give people an opportunity to get to know you. And once they get to know you, even in a job sphere, if you see somebody putting on a job post and say, yes, I would like to apply, give me one opportunity. Just speak to me. I do not expect you to give me the job. And I think that's the right approach, at least in today's time, Yes.
I have one more question, and it's about the biggest mistakes that we can do when we are applying for a job, when we are sending our first message, or when we are at our first interview. Tell me a little bit about this. Maybe it helps the audience.
Yeah, first of all, let me start with the approach, when you're applying for a job, right? I've always seen people, like you study something else and then you feel that you're passionate about something else and then you apply for a job which is totally different from what is not your passion. These things I think are very, very important in terms of understanding, first of all, what is the job that you really love doing? Right? And if you have studied something different and if you have studied something really which is not aligning with the job that you're looking for, then please do not apply unless you have the passion for it, right? Secondly, when you go for an interview, I tell people go very well prepared. I see people take interviews not very seriously, so they don't know anything about the organization. And I, being in HR, have interviewed n number of people, and when I ask them, what have you learned about my organization, or what is it that you really found interesting, nobody can give me an answer. Sometimes they're so blank. They said, oh really, did we have to do that? It's, you don't have to ask me that question, or you don't have to ask the person. So that's the first mistake you make. Learn the organization well. We don't tell you to learn their annual reports or what is the profit, but unless you are going for a finance interview, yes, that is very important. But if you're going for a normal general interview which has got nothing related with finance, then please learn when the company was established, what are its selling points, what has really made it where it is today. Learn these few things. Learn who are the management, So many times we are so blank about even who's the CEO or the chairman of the organization. So learn these few things. That is how you can go very well prepared for an interview. So that's the first mistake we make. We don't go well prepared knowing about the organization. So that I feel is very important. Apply for jobs, do a job analysis. People read job descriptions, but they forget to understand what is a job analysis. So I tell people, first analyze what all the job wants. Even organizations, when I tell them to put out a JD, please analyze the job and the skills required. And that's how the JD comes out. Yeah.
Perfect. I believe that will help the audience a lot, and they know now what they can do and what they cannot. And is it a little bit different today than it was before? How you have to be, or what kind of approach you have to take when you go for an interview? Is it different today, going digital, doing interviews remotely? Is there any difference?
Yeah, there is a difference, because initially we never had this. Okay, we had telephonic interviews because the telephone is there, but we didn't really have, like how I'm facing you today, like a Zoom or StreamYard and all these various things. Seriously, we didn't have those opportunities. So we either had a phone call, but the person could never see your face, so the vibe was not felt. The presence was not felt, and you just spoke on the phone. So it was just like a mental connection. But yes, things have changed, and have changed vastly. There is so much that a person can go so well prepared for an interview today. You just click a button on Google and you get all the information you need. And imagine our days, we had, even if you had to do one theory or a thesis, we had to go through 10 books in a library to find out and to get your accurate answer. So yes, what I would say is that things have changed vastly, and we should take advantage of these things that have changed today. Many a times we do not take advantage of these things. But if you ask me, through my personal experience, there is no solace and no happiness in meeting a person face to face and getting those real body language vibes. Yes.
I can totally agree. Being a dancer and the loving the connection with other people, I believe that's something that you cannot replace with anything. So let's go further, because the topic of this interview and the title was about empathy in leadership, and I believe that's something very important. So let's talk about that. Why is this your favorite topic, and why do you think it's so important to mention?
For me, empathy started long back in leadership. People are feeling that COVID has really made speakers and motivational speakers think about empathy now, because it is a situation. But I feel empathy for me was a long way back when I worked in the chairman's office back in the year 2007, 2008. And I still remember that we were two people working on the desk of the chairman, and there were only certain level of people allowed to meet the chairman, and the others were said, no, you don't belong to a certain band or a category and you cannot meet the chairman. And I was like, seriously, you're telling me this? Because even right from a shop floor person to your office boy who serves you your tea, coffee. And for those who don't know, in India, people still serve tea, coffee on your table, okay? So that's where I come from. So yes, and I said they're all working. So they're all contributing in some way for you to generate revenue for the organization, right? We all are responsible. And so then sometimes I feel that why not give these people their due respect? And so when I realized my colleague who had been working before me for almost 20 years already had set the rules, I said it's time to change the rules. And that is the day I realized, and I went and spoke to the chairman. I said, "Sir, do you have a problem that you don't want to meet certain level of people?" He says, "No, I have to be for everyone." So I said, when are you going to do that for everyone? And I have been a very bold person in those terms. And when I spoke to the chairman, he says, what is it that you have in mind? I said, you don't need to meet them on an individual basis because this is a huge organization, right? You cannot meet every shop floor person, or you cannot meet every manager on an individual basis. Why don't we have a coffee session? Or probably a tea session, because chai or tea in India is very famous. So why don't we have tea session? Or with some of the people who are like really just head of departments and who are just coming up to a manager level, let's have lunch with them. And believe me, we started doing this every quarter, and the amount of the amount of reciprocation that we got from even you won't believe, my chairman even went to the shop floor level and just said hello to all of them. He did not really have time to sit and have tea with them, but he went and they all gathered on the shop floor, and he just told them that I hope you all are fine. And if you have any problem, please connect with Sheryl and tell her if you have any problem. We will get it addressed. And I think this is what is empathy. You don't really have to know each and every individual, but you have to at least show them that you care. And care and concern is the most important thing in empathy for me.
We are starting to have some comments from the audience, and let's go and have a tea with them. Let's connect with the audience. So we have Santa here, Santa Moroter. Hi, nice to meet you. We have also Sheryl here. She says hi, and she says food brings people together, especially in Malaysia. That's very true. And we have Jagatis here. Hi, Sheryl. Stella, good title to bring out much needed by many out there at this pandemic situation and pandemic time. Thank you very much, Jack, for being with us. We will meet with Jack later too. So it's very, very important to be empathetic. But what are the things that makes a person? What makes a person empathetic? Tell me a little bit about this.
Yeah, so I think a few things, and normally people ask me, how is empathy connected to business? Okay. And why does a leader really need to have the feeling of, that empathetic feeling in the person? So first of all, let me just make it, let us make this very simple and straight, right? During the pandemic, let's take a great example. I do believe, and I have seen that there were lots of people who did not have basic facilities in their house to even work from home, right? And how many leaders really went out of their way to find out whether their people had all those basic things to work from home? That was my first concern. I knew people even did not have internet connection in their home. Can you believe it? Because yes, they really never felt that there was a need, because whatever happened previously in our lives never made us the need to say that, oh, maybe we had to work one full year from home, right? So how many leaders really went out of the way to see whether the people had proper, or they don't have to go, they could appoint people, to see, okay, you do have proper seating arrangements. You have maybe a house which is just two rooms, right? And you have your children also studying from online. Do they have the laptops? Do my people have everything that is really required? Because still offices are working on desktops. And so most of the employees did not even have laptops, and they really had to find ways and means of how they could provide all those needs in the house, especially if there's one person working, right? So definitely, that was my first question. Have the leaders of no matter where you are in the world, addressed that main concern. And how many ever did it? And I actually went on to Google and saw a few companies that really went out of their way. There was Google, which is very well known for its employee friendly nature. And of course, there were a few other companies that really went out of their way to see that their employees were self satisfied at home. But that is where empathy comes. Trying to put yourself into the person's situation and see, would I have been able to operate if I was in that situation? So I say that's the most important thing. Put yourself in that situation and see. Go out of your way to really, and don't mistake sympathy and empathy. They're two different things. Sympathy is when you can give something to the person and where you can be there as a shoulder to cry. In empathy, you're not a shoulder to cry. In empathy, you are feeling the situation and trying to provide an action to the situation.
Amazing explanation, and I really missed this definition earlier, because I believe people have to know the difference, and it's super important to make a difference, because empathetic, it's not about just being sad about someone's situation. It's about being proactive and helping them on a way. And I really love that you are just emphasizing this. And the second point was amazing, that you are turning the situation on a way that we need to check whether the people are able to follow us. If the situation, any kind of situation, is changing, right? You need to make sure that the person who is on the other side can follow up the change, have the gadgets, have the laptops, have a nice internet at home. Same for the schools, right? It was so fast, this change and the pandemics, and half of the schools couldn't provide the children laptops to go to the school from their homes. And it's the same with business. You need to make sure that your employees, your collaborators are really having these assets. Very, very good point. We have here Sheryl commenting, do you even care? Some leaders, I prefer to call these kind of people bosses. There was one remark I heard, I don't care whether you have less equipment, figure it out, right? This is absolutely not an empathetic
That's what I say, like it has to come from within you. And I think, and many a times people tell me, is empathy something that can be taught? Right? And does it have to be something that your parents have to teach you right from childhood? Because when we grow, right, we always lay the emphasis that teach your children honesty, teach your children to tell the truth, teach your children how to respect and obey elders. And these are the cliche things that we tell people, right? I think one more new thing that parents should start from today is teach your children to feel empathy, right? And it starts right from school. It starts right from how you feel about your other friends or other colleagues in school, in college. It should start right from there. You just can't start it from the time you become a leader or you reach to be a CEO, because sometimes some personality traits are difficult to change, right? And that is why it is very important that along with the other important characteristics you feel that a child needs, please try to include empathy as one nowadays.
I just love it. I have goosebumps while you were talking about this. Again, we are coming back to my dance background. In dancing, we couldn't exist without empathy. And it's so important in today's world. That's the only thing that is keeping us human, right?
Correct, so absolutely.
It's super important. And I love how the audience is also, I see all the speakers coming in and supporting each other. And this is also something proactive, empathetically coming in. Dr. Anjali, Sheryl, everyone is here to support you, Sheryl. And they are with you and supporting your talk. And I just love it. That's why I created this whole summit. So let's see, we have a Facebook user here. Hello, Andrea and Sheryl, very important points, particularly on present times. Awesome point, Sheryl. When kids small, they should be getting understanding about importance of empathy. So they are all with you, Sheryl.
Right, thank you so much. Yeah.
So let's go further and explore further what empathy means for the different generations, because it means something for us and it means something different for our children, and maybe it's extremely different for our grandmothers and grandparents. So let us understand what does it mean for the different audiences, the different generations.
Yes. So what I would like the generation of today, I know the generation of today is like is on the fast track, right? And when I say fast track, they really want to become CEOs and entrepreneurs on a larger scale than we were in the older days, right? In the older days, I remember that we used to see that we were financially secure first before we put a risk into any business. Today, the youngsters, and I applaud them for that, because I think unless you take risk and challenge yourself, you really don't know what is there in for you, right? So the most important thing I feel is for the generation of today, what I would like to say is that I think the past generation, they did have the sense of empathy, because we grew at a time, when everything was so difficult to get and achieve. We had to struggle our way for everything. Even to get a promotion was a great struggle, because we had to prove ourselves to a great extent, right? But in today's world, you find that the younger generation is really wanting to get things on a very fast mode. A few points that I would leave the generation of today is, when you are in a working environment, whether you are a CEO, CFO, managing director, or whether you are having your own business as an entrepreneur, most important is to be encouraging. And when I talk about encouraging, it's when you're in an organization, see that you encourage people to be vocal about what they feel. Because the more ideas you get and the more innovations you encourage in an organization, it could help you in a better run. And what I also tell leaders of today is, do not fear if somebody is smarter than you, right? And that's where the whole empathy part comes. That if somebody is smarter than you, give them a chance to showcase their intelligence. If you know, in my business, I have various people working for me, and I still learn from my colleague who's very good in technology. And many a times I falter because I'm not very good with data operations and HR operations. And in my workplace, I fell back on my colleagues, and I never felt shy or bad to ask them that I don't know this. Can you please teach me? So I think it's very important to encourage people who work with you to showcase their talent, to showcase what they can really bring to the table. The other thing I would say is be a good listener. Very important to be a good listener. How many times leaders just put their point and they leave the room and go? And then you are not really worried whether the person has followed what you said. Did they have any questions to ask you? Please give that chance for people to speak to you, because unless and until you have an open, effective communication, it is very difficult for you to really gauge what your people can really deliver. So I always say, yes, be a good listener. Learn from within the team. So don't be like a front end runner, like I'm the leader. So yes, I'm at the front, you follow me. Yes, you will have followers if you're a good leader. But if you are one among the team, and you are really one who works with the team, it is so good. I'm telling you, because people will start trusting you, and you will see great amount of productivity. And if you go to see, I read a research which was done by Singaporean students in a university, and they gathered people from different places across the globe. So there was a person from Michigan, there were people from a UK university. They all did a citation together, and they realized that in an organization where the leaders really did not have time to listen to the people, had high rate of low engagement, retention, high rate of attrition. They could not retain people. So can you imagine what a leader can really create around him or her? So yeah, very important to lead from within and show interest. When I say show genuine interest, I know if you have an organization of 10,000 people, I don't, expect you to go and meet everybody at their table or at their workplace. As I say, have tea sessions. Have sessions whereby the leader can just step down and say a hello. We've seen Tony Fernandez doing it of AirAsia, stepping down from his comfort zone, cycling around his office with other co-workers as a form of exercise. So I think these are few things in terms of leadership where you can learn from others, and put it into. And this is what the new generation should take, along with them, if they really want to emphasize and show the quality of empathy.
I remember something, I believe it was in a movie, that there was something that the person was taking off the door of the office, and the leader was saying that I don't have a door, so you can come in anytime, whenever you want. So my office is open to anyone. That was the message behind. And I really love the idea that whenever you have a trouble, be able to go there and be brave enough. So the leader has to be a coach today, and we will talk about this later with Jeff, because it's kind of like making your people grow. It's not like you just care about your business, because your business will be better if your people are growing, right, Sheryl?
Yes, and I absolutely tell that it's not important for the CEO and the MD to take it as a task upon them. They have to delegate it to people, saying that, in your KPI, empathy has to be one of the parts, where I want to see how in certain situations you have really come out as that leader that people look up to or would like to follow. We give so much importance to performance in KPIs, right? When we talk about generating revenue, sales, marketing, HR leadership, your compliance, zero errors. We talk about so many things, right? Why don't we include empathy as a KPI and just see the difference it could really make in a workplace?
I love this idea, but before I was working for a multinational company, and I was leading the KPI meetings, and I wanted so much to have some numbers about the people, and it was more about the profits and the Excel files and the everything what matters today for a company, but nothing about the people, and I was so missing it. Such a good point, Sheryl.
Yeah. Andrea, we can't hear you. I think it's gone mute.
Yes, so Jagatis is saying, yes, it's the open concept at the office. So that's very good. And then we have Avril Fernandez, empathy is a key. Great idea. So super, super good support. Well said, has to improve and upskill in the workplace. And we have Betty here. Well said by Sheryl, bosses and leader must be empathetic. So thank you to everyone who is here with us. And now you can ask your questions. Please feel free, if you have a question, just put it in the comments and I can highlight it. And if you would like to, then I can also bring you up to the stage. You just have to say that, yes, I'm jumping on the stage. And then I can bring you up. So before they type in the question, let's just say that, summarize everything, all right? So how can be a leader empathetic, more empathetic, and how can it affect the business culture?
That's right. So as I said, yes, for a leader to have that genuine empathy, right, and to translate it into business, very, very important, as I say, effective communication. Allow your people to speak to you and listen, be a good listener, encourage innovation, let them take the challenges. And of course, if you're a leader, I'm sure all of us have gone through failures, right? And we've learned from our mistakes and failures how we can really rise above the expectations of our own self. I don't say that rise in the expectation of others. First of all, try to rise in your own expectations, and that is very important. And you will see that if you are really a leader who has empathy, then definitely you will see improvement in terms of engagement in the organization. You will see less attrition. People really want to be with you because, as they truly say, right, people do not leave the organizations and their workplace because they don't love the workplace. They leave because they do not have the right bosses or they do not have the right leaders. So can we not be those leaders that really love to engage with people, love to show people that yes, we are listening, we are there for you, and yes, you have an issue and a problem or something is not being done the right way. Come forward. We are here to listen to you. And unless and until you as a leader gives your people that assurance that you really care about them, you're really concerned. And for you, what matters is their individual experience in the organization more than anything else, then yes, you are really setting a platform for a business that will survive any sort of pandemic. This was one type of pandemic. God knows how many more things we will have to overcome in the near future. Use your people. I talk about a business continuity plan. Leaders, if you really sit with your people and try to brainstorm on how in such terrible situations you can really create an effective organization, you will get the ideas from your mid-level and low-level people. Believe me, we've done that in organizations, and we have seen how people who from the low strata of working really come out with such innovative ideas that you will be surprised as a leader. Why did it not strike me? So give opportunities. Let people speak up.
Perfect. I think you just answered the question from Sheryl, how you can promote the culture among the leaders in your respective organizations. And we have another question, which is not really regarding what we speak about, but it's about the summit. Malcolm would like to know whether we provide certification. Yes, everyone who has a free ticket will have a certification that you have attended the Global Empowerment Summit. And some surprises are also coming up from the 8th of October, when you can be part of a game and win the most interactive participant title on an application that we are preparing, and it will be amazing. And you can collect points, and next to the certificate you can be ending up on the top of a leaderboard. And then let's go further for the questions. So we have Hui San Hiu. I hope I pronounce it right. Is there any advices for youths to improve the leadership skills?
Okay. Thanks you for that question. Very good question. What I always say is that you come with some inherent personality traits, right? As a leader, first of all, I tell people, please learn to adapt to certain traits when you come into a professional environment. Don't let your inherent inborn personality traits take over the traits that you can really adapt to. So for a real leader, to improve your skills, learn to first see how you have accepted yourself. And very important, when I tell people, I talk about emotional intelligence. If you really want to improve your skills as a leader, do a lot of self-assessment, self-awareness, self-reflection. When you do all these things, don't try to hide we all have our areas of improvement, and that's where you need to work on if you really want to improve your leadership skills. So the youth of today, you really don't take time to do self reflection, self awareness. We feel that we know so much in today's world, right? The youth of today, and I'm really amazed when I talk to the youth of today, they know so much, right? But even after knowing so much, sometimes there are things that you feel you get too overconfident. So I tell people that be confident, be street smart. But the skills that you can improve is, again, listen to people, let people give their views, and that's how you can really improve your leadership skills. But the most important thing is self-awareness. Try to first reflect on yourself and see what are the things that you need to change as a leader. What are the things that you really need to improve as a leader? Right? And if you do those things and write it down, or keep a digital diary and make a note of this and try to improvise on this, you will be a leader that people really want to follow.
I love the point of being a leader who is curious about growing and learning, and also inspiring others to learn and grow. This is something that is super important. And when I work with youngsters, I just see that they are so hungry for experience, because they also feel that they are missing this kind of connection with the other generations, and they don't need us to tell them what they have to do, but they need us to guide them, to inspire them, to show them that things are possible, and then they got wings, right, Sheryl?
Yes, right. And we are all mothers, have grown-up daughters who are already working. So we have been through all these phases in life.
That's so true. So as a last message to the audience, because we are at the end of our session, it was an amazing interview. Thank you for all the points. I believe the audience has enjoyed it very much, checking a lot of comments. So just tell us a little bit more about what's your message to the audience today. How can they keep it up with self-leadership, even in changing times and insecure times like today? And what would be this encouraging message from you to the audience today?
So yes, I would just like to end it in a simple way. I really don't believe in creating huge jargons and giving some flowery language. Very simple. One is, as I always keep on saying, is that if you really want to have empathy in you, just show that care and concern, most important things, and communicate. I feel nothing is so important in leadership, even in your day-to-day personal life, in your day-to-day interactions. Communication is the key to everything. And for you to be a really strong and a good leader, I think brush up on your communication skills. Very, very important, no matter language. Do not use language as a barrier when it comes to communication. Be comfortable in what you can communicate the best way. I never use language as a barrier, but I say communicate. Do not be silent. Do not just, build up things and create an emotional upheaval in your own self. So communicate. Very important to communicate. Be important to listen, and also very important to be caring and concerned and give others an opportunity, as Andrea said, to grow. So if you really want to be a leader, you should learn to delegate and let people grow so that you grow too. Because if you don't let your people grow, you will still remain in the same position where you are, because then that shows your inefficiency of saying that I cannot grow being a leader. How can I let my people grow, right? So if you learn to trust your people, delegate work down the line, believe me, you have already created a sense of empathy among your people.
Perfect message, perfect end note to this amazing conversation. And then as a last sentence, just introduce yourself on a way that how can and where can the people find you in the digital space? Where can they reach out to you, and how can they connect with you?
Yes. So I'm on LinkedIn. Sheryl Stella Baretto is very much available on LinkedIn, and we run a company called Freshly Simple. I'm on Facebook, and I'm very active on most of my social media platforms. We have a website called Freshly Simple. So if you really want to know what all we do, we also do group coaching, and we do leadership coaching too as a part of our services. And we do a lot of pro bono work. So we do believe that it's not only being happy to get paid for everything. We believe there are a lot of people who cannot afford, and let us be there for them. So definitely, if anybody really feels they need support in terms of career guidance, which I do, in terms of learning the English language also, which we do. We're doing this pro bono. But anyone feels that they do not have the capacity to pay for this and really feel that we can accommodate you in our busy schedule and see how we can really work this way out. But yes, giving back to society is one cause that me and my husband strongly believe in.
Amazing, amazing people. You see, audience, I just bring you all the angels in the world. We have 200 plus angels here spreading the knowledge and giving you all the values for 2 weeks. 2 consecutive weeks, they will be here with us from morning till evening, and you can catch it in the calendar, which is already published on the website. So you just have to go to the website, check out the schedule, click on the calendar, and you can easily jump into any sessions which will be live on YouTube, and even to the workshops that will be in Zoom. So thank you very much for the audience. Thank you, Betty, Jagatis. Thank you, Hussan. Thank you, Sheryl. Thank you, Avril. And thank you for also the anonymous Facebook user, for everyone who was commenting on the feed, Dr. Anjali, and for all the support. And we see Sheryl one more time, and also seeing her later in a panel discussion, and also as a moderator and the speakers. So I'm very, very thankful for you to be here with us. And thank you very much.
Andrea, and wish you all the best for the remaining sessions. And you're doing a wonderful job. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. So next time we will be up from 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. Malaysia time, which will be already afternoon for Europe and South Africa, and which will be morning next day for America. So see you there. We will be here with Jeff and then Leslie from South Africa. So thank you very much, Sheryl.
Yeah, thank you, Andrea. Yeah.
Play a little teaser and see you at another session.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. See you at 8 p.m. Malaysia.